Hello, this is Paul from Play Magazine, and this is a beginner's guide to Rainbow Six Siege. So in this video we're just going to be taking a look at some of the basic things you should be doing if you want to be successful in this game. We've also got a video up looking specifically at operators, so if you're looking for some more information on all the characters you can select, then check that out. So the first thing to mention with Rainbow Six Siege is how important communication is. The teams that talk to each other are more successful than the teams that don't. It's simple as that. So if you've got a headset, then use it. Obviously, in an ideal situation, you have a load of friends who've all got headsets and you can all play together. But if not, you can find random people on there who are talking, and you'll see the difference it makes when you go from playing with a team where no one's talking to a team where everyone's talking. In a game like this, where you can die so quickly and you're out of the game once you get hit, it's really important that you can tell each other where enemies are coming from, if you spotted any devices they might be using, or to coordinate your attacks. So to give a simple example, you might plant a charge at one end of a room, blow that, to turn everyone's attention to where that is, and then blow one at the opposite end of the room to come in and surprise them. Now, having established the importance of communication to the game overall, I want to move on to the specifics of attacking and defending. So if you're attacking, obviously the first thing that you're going to be doing is you're going to be scoping out the area with your drones in the phase at the beginning of the game to try and find the objective. Something that people who've just started playing the game might not realise: if you don't find the objective within that time, you can switch back to your drone. It's definitely worth doing that rather than just running into the level, because if you don't know where enemies are, what might be waiting for you, then you're probably going to be at a disadvantage. So it's worth switching back, taking the time to find the objective, and then going in as a team. Once you have found the objective, a common mistake that people make is they find the objective and they sit there constantly tagging enemies. Now, if you're defending, you'll be alerted that you're being tagged, so the first thing they're going to do is look around for your drone and they're going to destroy it. What you're better off doing once you've found the objective is trying to get your drone somewhere where the other team aren't going to see it, so maybe under a car. It's worth leaping up onto shelves if you can, because people don't tend to look for drones at a high level, they tend to look for them on the floor. And just leave your drone there, don't move, because that will draw the enemy's eye. And then once you've started the game, your drone sat there right in the objective, you can move into the level, and then you can switch to your drone when you're just about to go in. You know what the enemy's actual position is when you're going to attack, rather than when they're running around setting up at the beginning of the match. And you can tell your teammates where they are or tag them. That's going to be far more useful to you than tagging enemies before they've set into position and getting your drone destroyed.
Setting charge.
Now, moving on to defending. The first thing I'm going to say is to use your abilities. This should be obvious, but I've seen people, for example, pick Rook, whose ability is that he can put down body armor for the team to use. I've seen people pick him and not put down the armor. Obviously, you're just putting yourself and your team at a disadvantage if you don't do that. Another good thing to do when you're defending is to switch to the cameras at the beginning of the match. They're dotted around the level, and it's going to let you see where the enemy's coming from, and even who's on the team. So, for example, you can let your team know if there's someone coming with a shield, and most importantly, you can let them know where they're coming in so that you can be prepared for that and potentially even counter that. If possible, as a defender, it's a good idea to try and funnel the attackers into particular points, which you can do by fortifying walls to try and stop people coming in that way, using some of the operators' other abilities to make people come in from a certain direction. And then if you can do things like, for example, crouch down, blow a hole in the wall with your gun so that you've got a line of sight on an entrance point, and you're somewhere where the other team's not likely to spot you, that can be an advantage. Obviously, there are ways that the other team can counter that, but again, that's about communication and keeping your team aware of what the other team's doing and if that's going to change your plan. Something that's going to apply to both attackers and defenders: be aware of the objective and how that's going to make you play the level. If it's hostage mode, for example, as an attacker, you don't really want to go in with frag grenades. Fuse can be dangerous to use unless you're very careful and know where everybody is. Firing cluster grenades into a closed room can be a bad idea. If there's a hostage in there, you kill the hostage and lose the match. And one more piece of advice I'd give is to be aware of the tactics that your enemy has used. If they've been successful one round using a particular approach, they're probably going to do it again. So if, for example, you've been foiled by loads of electronic devices, as an attacker. Might be worth using Thatcher, who has an EMP that can take out electronic devices. That's just one example, but it's something that's worth being aware of. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you want some more in-depth information on some of the tactics and abilities that you can use in Rainbow Six Siege, we've got a video up on operators specifically, looking into some of their strengths and weaknesses, so check that out. Cheers.